we present interactive model cards, a human-centered approach to model documentation. Model cards are an essential form of documentation for the responsible application of AI and ML technology. However, the design potential of model cards, especially as it relates to visualization and interaction, has been relatively underexplored by the research community. In our study, we explore alternative designs for model cards and assess their impacts. We place an emphasis on examining the role of interactivity specifically, and we also leverage the views of both experts in ML/AI as well as non-experts in our assessments. We carried out a multi-phase study to develop and evaluate interactive model cards. The first was a concept study, where we leveraged the insights of experts to understand the scope of an interactive design space. We used their insights to create a functional prototype that we then evaluated with individuals who are not experts in AI, ML, data science, or NLP. Here's a quick overview of the features of our interactive model card. Text appears in an abbreviated format using simplified terminology, with details that are available upon expansion. The quantitative performance of the model is broken down not only according to training and test set, but also US protected classes. Clicking on a bar allows us to interrogate the sentences, and we can also change how we sample the sentences that are viewed. Red outlines around the bar indicate low sample sizes, and this can also be modified by the end user. We can add new details about the model's performance, for example, by adding a new subpopulation to assess. When we click on that, we can see the sentences associated with it. And we can also add new data by adding sentences. And we can choose to either agree or disagree with the model's results and see the performance change in real time. We can also take a broader look at the data. For example, let's take a look at that funny subpopulation and see how it relates to the rest of the data in the data set. Our paper dives deeper into how we use the insights from experts to construct our functional prototype for an interactive model card. To evaluate our interactive model card, we recruited 20 participants that lack formal training in data science or machine learning, but who learned these skills on the job. While they gave us many great insights, we summarized them as 4 key points. First, we found that interactivity was really useful to conduct a lightweight analysis, but this was often a bridge to further questions and not a substitute for it. Importantly, many of these interactive features needed to be scaffolded by non-interactive design choices to be discoverable and effective. Secondly, we found that adding interactivity and guidance to model cards helped bolsters people's productive skepticism and think more critically about both the model and the data. It would be really interesting to consider in the future how we can design more features into AI/ML tooling that promotes this kind of productive skepticism. Our third observation was that model cards need to do more to support the community and not just the individual. Design actually really mattered here in helping it to achieve this goal. It was not enough to assume that something would be useful for a wide variety of stakeholders. We had to test it and evaluate it and assess whether it would be or not. Finally, unintended uses, ethics, and safety are important features of model cards, both interactive and otherwise, but these remain still too ambiguous and difficult to actually be actionable. We encourage you to get more details of our study in our paper, as well as continue the conversation by checking out our code as well as our interactive demo.